All right, Sparky Coach Podcast, Crowie and Cam here, part 2 or numeral 2-0.
What's up?
What's up? We're talking about being too busy and the roadblock that is to the business owner and to the business, and the effect that has, the negative effect on the staff and the negative effect on the clients and the negative effect on yourself, you know.
The negative effect.
Do I need to keep elaborating? On your family, on your dog,
on yourself, on your car, on your dog, on your budgie.
Yeah, on your biceps that aren't getting the workout, on your quads. Yeah. You're no longer the quad father.
No. On your surfboard that's gathering dust.
Yeah, it's mold. It's moldy now. It's past the dust stage. But yeah, so it's interesting, right? And is there any worse feeling than being on site? Like, you booked 2 days this ruffian because you are a god. Let's face it. And you're going to smash this out, and they start adding things, and all of a sudden, you realise that you booked another job on Wednesday. Actually, you booked 3 jobs on Wednesday because you thought you would be on top of this, when reality is you knew it was a 4-day job, but you booked in 2 days because you're an eternal optimist. That's what business owners are. You're an optimist.
You were flexing.
You're like, I'll smash this out. And all of a sudden, you're not smashing it out, so, the tool belt's on. And the tool belt doesn't fit anymore because you're eating too many chicken burgers. So you got to loosen the belt a little bit, and then so you put it on, and then you can.
Can I just say how good is a chicken schnitty burger from like the local takeaway? It's outstanding.
Yeah, I do miss the chips wrapped in paper.
Paper, yeah.
Yeah, that was what a godsend. Anyway, good chicken burger's good. A bad chicken burger with too much mayo or something is not a thing for me. I borderline won't have mayo on anything.
Bad takeaway is just bad, full stop. All the work. Let's just digress here for a second. I find it astounding how much I used to be able to eat in my younger days. So like early 20s. So like, you'd be punching out, working all day, like working all morning. And then you just be like, I'll just get like minimum chips, a burger, and some kind of drink or something. And you just like absolutely inhale it, and then just get back to it. Like, revisit that now. It's like you maybe eat half the burger, have a couple of chips, and you literally feel like you've got an anchor attached to you as you stand back up.
Yeah, the chicken slump. Can I get?
Midday slump.
Afternoon slump. That'd be great. Just slumping into the afternoon. But yeah, it's crazy to reference when you're busy. You can overcommit, both on tools and off tools. Off tools in terms of if you ever turned up to a clean slate of an 8-hour day, only to realise that there's 24 hours to cram into it of office work, and you're just like, you know what, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to do nothing because it's too hard. And so that's interesting, right? But getting to the point of like what you can do about it, because I know if you listen to this is part 2, listen to part 1, got to the end of it, you'd be like, that's all good to say, but I'm really busy and I'm booked out till Christmas. I'm booked out for months, and we don't have the staff to handle it. And I agree, like that's what we're going to talk about. There's only so much you can do. This is a good thing because the first part 1 was about what you can do. There's only so much you can do, and you can write your schedule out. You can focus on the most important jobs, the one you're at. You can write your processes out. You can be like, I'm going to really organize my day, and I'm going to get Asana into jot form, into the moon, into your heart, into your next door neighbor's house, into the plant, back into my email for maximum efficiency. And then you go, like, cool, that's awesome, but I'm still cooked. And we're going to talk about here, like, the elephant in the room, and this is where headspace comes into it. Hiring a tradie, hiring an apprentice, hiring admin. So you're looking at it going, okay, so I can't physically get to those jobs. But we have a lot of work on. Okay, so you're looking at it going, I can't, what is that next hire? I can't physically get to that admin task. Okay, is that an option? So hiring is such a great way to get yourself out of a busy season, and a way to capitalize on a busy season, because a lot of people in a busy season get busy and they stop answering their phone, they stop getting back to quotes because they don't need them today or tomorrow, and we've got heaps of work, and that's cool. That is cool, actually. Having heaps of work is essentially a good problem to have. It's a testament to your on-site ability and your good looks, actually, and probably a bit of your
good demeanour, good person, good bloke.
That's just the way you communicated it. So like that's just something to be like, okay, you might need help getting out of this one, and that help comes from a field staff member, a tradie or apprentice or admin. And how do you sort of how do you work out what one in that situation? What would you do?
I just think quite simply, I look at it as a capacity thing. So what's a person's capacity, right? So we all have only so many hours a week and so much capacity, and I think this is really interesting. I look at it first and foremost is like, what is actually your capacity, okay? And this is going to look completely different for each individual business owner to begin with, because the capacity of a single young fella, got really no commitments in regards to partner, social life, children, anything like that, their capacity is going to be completely different to a married dad or mum with a couple of kids, so to speak, and then we can fill everything in between. So I think we can all recognise that when we were young and single, then when we got with a partner, then when we bought a house or a property of some sort, or even just moved out on our own, you have different social groups, different circles, that your capacity to do things change. So the old saying, if only you could put an old head on young shoulders, just feels like it just rings true so much here. It's like, if I just could have been told a few things at like 21, 22, 23 of like, oh, I'm so bored, I don't know what I'm going to do today. It's like, I would like literally teleport back there to sit on that couch and whinge that I'm so bored, because like literally you're like, I don't even have time to scratch myself these days. Like, it's like that intensity is there. So I think it's recognizing where your capacity sits, and having an understanding. Because, look, we actually have a few members who only work 4 days a week. Through, not through like, because they, are lazy, or they,
Sounds lazy.
they want to do. It's the reality of it all. They do that because maybe their partner goes to work and they have no child caring services. It could be just a choice that they made to be like, hey, I just want to be present with my kids on this particular day, or like we've got, there's certain circumstances. So their capacity is impacted by having making that decision, or having that decision thrown upon them. There's lots of different parameters. So I really think first and foremost, it's identifying what a person's capacity is, and then moving on from there. The triggers, like in regards to asking your question, again, of like what to do. Do I need an admin? Do I need a tradie? Do I need an apprentice? I then think you need to look at and be like, what am I doing? Where are we doing our work? What areas of work? So like, I would look at someone who heavily focused in the new build, new construction sector. I would say that more than likely your administration is going to be is probably generally pretty low. Like in the sense of, quote comes in, get quote out. Sometimes you might even only send one invoice for the week. Sometimes you might not send any, because the rough-in goes for 2 weeks. So you're literally on a job for 2 weeks, and then the progress claim is done at the end of that, versus someone else in the service and maintenance space who punch out 20 to 30 jobs a week, which in turn equals 20 to 30 invoices, which in turn is 20 to 30 more phone calls, which in turn probably spins out, I'd say, 30% of quotes. So you've probably got 10 to actually then repair the work. So then you've got 10 quotes to do. So the admin capacity is completely different there. So I think it's really identifying about where your capacity lies, and then identifying what the field of work that you are predominantly based in, and this will then start to sort of give you an indication of, do I need admin, do I need an apprentice, do I need a tradie?
Yeah, the admin thing, I feel like that's the first, I don't think it's the first ceiling, but that's a huge ceiling that the business owner hits, and that was a huge catalyst with us sort of launching that Sparky VA situation. It's like, we'll script all your admin and we'll take it off you, because that's a huge weight taken off someone's shoulders. I think the admin, because a lot of times that the initial first hire is a tradie or an apprentice, and then the next hire is probably a tradie, when in fact probably your third or fourth hire max needs to be an admin at 1 or 2 days a week. But that admin needs to be like a plant just growing with you, you know. Oh, you can do 8 hours this week, then 10, then 12, then 16, then 20, then 24, then 30, then 36, which is never, not never, that's a bad choice of words, rarely going to happen. And that admin's going to up and leave at some point. So you've got to retrain and rescript everything. And their chances are they're coming in to create processes, and you're like, no, they're like, oh, can you show me how you do things? And you're like, I don't know how to do things. You show me how to do things. And there's this sort of Mexican standoff of like walking away from each other, old Western style, turn and shoot and blame each other. Like, you suck. No, you suck. No, everything sucks. And then you're like, life sucks. I can never outsource my admin. And that's what we want to alleviate from people's rosters, basically. Like, you know, you see intelligent, successful, hard-working, good people reconciling and preparing invoices and doing this mundane administration stuff that probably you could train a small child to do. You know what I mean? Hey, get this detail and put it here. Okay, sweet. Like, and that's I want to belittle the task, because, you know, chances are you're doing the hard thing easy and the easy thing hard. Like, don't waste your time on that. Like, it's literally probably the equivalent on site of leaving a brand new first year apprentice at a large commercial switchboard while you go and pick up the stuff from the wholesaler. Like, it's a poor use of time, you know? It's a very, very, very poor use of time, and it doesn't actually make sense to get caught or bogged down into that mundane sort of administration task. And then, interestingly enough, like, so admin, but field stuff, like, you got to think sometimes you have to take a day off. So I remember, I know what you're thinking, I can never take a day off, get stuffed. And but I remember like being so busy sometimes, and I'm like, you know what, I need to dedicate 4 hours this afternoon to making 50 phone calls, trying to find a subcontractor to help us out, trying to find a tradie, calling the wholesaler, David Hasselhoffing everywhere, posting on Facebook. I'll actually post this on Insta, but a Facebook memory, you know how they came up for me?
Yeah.
Like 2014, I think. And it was me posting, which I rarely do, if ever, on Facebook, and it said, any electricians out there looking for work? And that's rock bottom for me is two things. One, Facebook posting, that's rock bottom. Secondly, is asking the ether, asking the abyss, asking the internet that question. But it actually worked. And it was sometimes you got to take an afternoon off and be like, okay, I've got to hire someone, and I've got to make phone calls. And it's interesting, the hiring situation, because I would agree we're all after the A players, you would say, the top tier tradies and apprentices. And we'll get into this another topic, but like, if they're not performing, you might just need to get rid of them. But like certain businesses, there is a really, really, there is a space and a place for average to good, I would say. If you've got that really excellent tradie and a good apprentice, and then you've got that sort of person that's like labour, you might say. Yeah. If they can like hang cable tray, run cable, Velcro data, like whatever, sometimes your job and your style of work might enable good. You know, it might be like average person can be good when dictated to by an excellent tradie. And I think that's what you've got to know. Like, we're all after the top dogs, so we want to create them. That's fantastic. But there might just be a place in your business for a subcontractor to come in 2 days a week to help out in an unmarked car. Am I right? with my shirt on, or not, or whatever. But if you've got a good, excellent tradie on and a good, excellent apprentice, that subcontractor turns up in their own sign-written van and it's got a big antenna on it broadcasting their website to the moon. Like, that's who cares? If your reputation's on the line and that person's going to come in and help, that can be fantastic. So it's like, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes you've got to pull yourself out of the business for 4 to 8 hours to make phone calls to find that person who's going to help for 16 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 40 hours a week. That's huge. And sometimes if you look at your schedule and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to, let's say you've got two tradies together, huge alarm bells. like could an apprentice slot in and be trained up in that job site? Probably, to be honest. So now you've got two teams that you can just split tomorrow if you hired one or two apprentices and go forth and multiply, as the trade gods say. So it's like, you know, you've got to look at your schedule, look at your situation, look at your jobs, look at while everyone's business is same, It's sort of that Bali philosophy, like same, but different. Like everyone's pretty similar. We do electrical, aircon, solar work, but everyone's application of staff will be a little bit different. Every job is a bit different. You know, sometimes you need a tradie apprentice team, sometimes tradie only, sometimes tradie apprentice, sometimes the Tata tradie apprentice. Sometimes, like, so you've got to know your unique place in the market and know what you're doing in that situation. But yeah, sometimes you got to take a day off to get an extra 40 hours a week. And that becomes a priority.
No,
You know?
it's sort of like it's like a stop and check yourself scenario. It's like you will actually alleviate a lot of issues by actually stopping work. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
what you're doing is you're getting yourself off the hamster wheel, right? Stopping and being like, hey, we need to make a few changes here to get an understanding of what's going on, and getting things in place. So yeah, it could be about, hey, we need desperately to get someone else here, or we need to desperately communicate with someone, like a client, or we need admin. Like I need to, how do I go about that? Do the research, give us a call, speak to us around like, hey, what the admin, Sparky admin side of things is in the course that you can get involved in. It gives you the ability to get that headspace to then make decisions that you can then act on, which then alleviate the issues down the track. So while it's sort of, I think a lot of people think, oh, this is going to be counterproductive. Like, I've got so much going on.
I don't have time. I don't
have time for it all. But what it is that it's actually, no, you're actually allowing the time to fix whatever your problem is right now of being in this situation. And a lot of it a lot of it revolves around getting a hire, getting an admin or a tradie or an apprentice sorted, to be able to alleviate that pressure. And what it can do is it works a number of ways. So obviously, first and foremost, we think tradie and apprentice. That alleviates the on-site issue in regards to, we now have people able to get the work done. Creating an admin, so onboarding an admin, alleviates the pressure of creating the jobs, preparing the invoices, checking over, creating stuff for you. So it could just be like, hey, this email came to me, can you just do this task for me? Can you do this task? So you become the delegator. So once upon a time, you used to have to do that Form 12, Form 16. I don't know I can't remember what they're called in New South Wales.
We don't need to certify anything in New South Wales. We just do it.
You just do it, yeah. So like, some kind of COC, doesn't matter where you are. So as opposed to you doing that, claiming the STCs, putting the EWR in, or the connection form into Essential or Endeavour or Energex or Ergon, whoever, that then is someone else's issue. So then in turn, you've taken that away from you. So then you can communicate with the client to let them know, hey, when do you need us there? When's the latest we can get it? When sheeting start? So go forward and ask them, when sheeting start? And they could be like, oh, sheeting doesn't start for a month because we've got this, this, and this. And this is what I find by having conversations. They answer so many questions for you. And you can ask them as well. When, they could be like, oh, we need to be here. And you're like, hey, when sheeting start? Sheeting doesn't start for a month. And you're like, sweet, too easy. I can get these jobs done, and instead of sending the 2 guys that I was going to send there for a month to do the roughing, because let's just call it quite a large job, it's like, we're going to get all these other jobs done, then we're going to hit it for 2 weeks with our team of 4. So you've immediately been able to alleviate something by having the conversation around it, because now you've got the time, because you've got someone else doing the mundane task around it.
Yeah, a huge thing, just as you're talking then, made me think of the really busy times we had. And sometimes the most overwhelming parts of those busy times are the small jobs, like the 2 to 8 hour ones that keep banking up, or the 8 to 16 hour ones or something, and they keep banking up, and you're just like, yeah. And like we said in the first part, you got to bottle up that feeling of having no work. Like, where those 8 to 16 hour jobs lead. They lead to bigger jobs. They lead to good clients. They lead to repeat work, lead to word of mouth, referrals, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, sometimes you just got to go small job Friday, small job Monday, the whole crew of 4, 6, 8, 2, or however size crew you've got, we're just going to punch out 4 small jobs each on that day, or 1 small job, and just tick that off the list and keep rolling forward. It's quite easy to communicate to your clients that, hey, we'll be on the job from Monday to Thursday. We're having Friday to get some small jobs done. It's very easy to tell your admin, hey, just book out Fridays or Mondays, whatever, for the small jobs, just load it up and get us happening, or book out that one person across that board, or do I need 2 people on that job site? But just to reference the how crazy it is, like, and how important it is to sort of to slow down and make those phone calls to hire an admin or tradie or apprentice. It's kind of like, picture you're at a rough-in and you get all the cables out, all the drums there, and it's like, I'm too busy to go back and get the cable roller. Like, you would never consider such a sin. That's actually probably the trade god's number one, like, cardinal sin. You go into a confession booth with the trade gods to say, I didn't get the cable roller out of the van. The cable roller, as we know, has 4 legs. It's better than 2 apprentices. We know that for a fact. It's amazing. So it's like, sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. You might say.
It's all about. That's a really good one there with the rough-in side of things. It's like, I'm so busy, I'm just going to throw the process out. So it's like, the process is, hey, we're going to mark out everything on the floor. We're going to go around, we're going to plate up. We're going to go around, we're going to drill out. Where once we've drilled out, we're going to go nog everything out, right? Once we've nogged everything out, then we can set up the rollers and start pulling cables. Like, you wouldn't just mark up, skip plate out, because you're like, we'll just do the plates later. Who needs plates on a wall? Like, you're actually creating more work for yourself at the end, because it's like you've created this like ad hoc process that just is not going to work, because it's just been thrown out the window.
What about the rough-ins? How, like, you see someone go, I'm going to start, like, maybe you got a keen apprentice or a keen tradie, go, I'm going to rip and tear, and this is, I mean, drills are a lot better these days, but back when you had electric drills to drill through stuff, and you go, and you go, oh no, they're dropping that ceiling. Like, we just saved a day's worth of work with you drilling because you were gung ho, because we know they're putting some furring channel in and dropping the ceiling 100 mil. Like, it's just like, sometimes you got to slow down, ask the right questions and speed up, and ask the right questions to yourself. I think is the biggest thing. So, where is the bottleneck? What is happening? Why am I so busy? Is it an administration issue? Is it a side issue? Is it both? Is it a little bit of a Chinese combination plate? Bit of chicken, bit of prawn, bit of dog? Who knows?
Am I the issue? Like, and I think that's a really important question to ask yourself. Like, are you being the bottleneck? And I would say, in most cases, you are, because everything's being channeled through you, and then you can only have so much capacity. And I think it's really important to reference where your capacity is. And then it's like, how do I unblock that bottleneck? You don't become the person who has to do everything.
Yeah, you'd don't put that screw in like that, put it like this. You don't have to do that stuff. This is how you hold a drill. Watch me do everything. Crazy times. All right, that's sort of part 2 of the bottlenecks you hit, and being too busy, huge bottleneck. So if you're feeling too busy, I would invite you to go grab a coffee, go grab a beer, grab a kombucha, take half an hour out, ask yourself the questions. Why are you so busy? What led to this? What can you do about it? Is it a short-term issue just for like 5 days? Is it something that is not going to resolve itself, that you're going to have to step in for? And, what is your capacity? All those questions. Ask yourself the hard questions, and, get after it, as we love to say here, and have the best day ever. Peace.
Cheers.